Puri. So how Madhavendra Puri actually come in the picture? Because we were actually reading Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's yatra to South Indian yatra. He was going to from Jagannath Puri. He started, and he was going to from Navadvip he started going to Jagannath Puri, and in the way he stopped at the Ramuna, and in the Ramuna he told the story after offering the obeisances to the Gopinathjis, whose deities are absolutely beautiful. So he offered his obeisances to Gopinathji, and then there were devotees with him. So he told the four devotees accompanied actually. They were Nityanand Prabhu, Jagadananda, Damodar, and Mukunda. So those four devotees were with him. So he started telling him the story of Shri Gopinath, about the importance of those deity, how they came and how nice they are, and what they did for Madhavendra Puri. So then he starts telling the story of Madhavendra Puri, which we know that we will read that in the next verse. Please go ahead for 106 verse.
Gopal kahe, Puri amar tap nahi jai, Molay jo chandan repo, tabe se judai.
In his dream, Madhavendra Puri saw Gopal, who said, "My bodily temperature still has not decreased. Please bring sandalwood from the Malaya province and smear the pulp over my body to cool me." The deities of Gopal had been buried within the jungle for many years, and although he was installed and was offered thousands of pots of water, he still felt very hot. He therefore asked Madhavendra Puri to bring sandalwood from the Malaya province. Sandalwood produced in the Malaya is very popular. The province is situated in the on the western Ghat, and the Nilgiri is sometimes known as Malaya Hills. The word Malayaja, is used to indicate the sandalwood produced in the Malaya province. Sometimes the word Malaya refers to the modern country of Malaysia. Formerly, this country also produced the sandalwood, but now they have found it profitable to produce rubber trees. Although the Vedic culture was once prevalent in Malaysia, now all the inhabitants are Mohammedans. The Vedic culture is now lost in Malaysia, Java, and Indonesia. So here Madhavendra Puri had the second dream. The first dream Madhavendra Puri had 2 years ago when Gopalji came in his dream and told him that I am buried in this and this place in the jungles for many, many years, and please take me out. So Madhavendra Puri went there with the help of the local Brajvasis, and he did the place, and what he saw and where he saw in the dream, exactly at that spot, Gopalji were there, and he digged them out. He put it on the stone rock, and then they gave him abhishek and a lot of prasadam with the help of all the villagers, from nearby, and he made a small temple with the help of many devotees living around. So everybody participated, and many people brought the prasadam for Gopalji, and that way Gopalji's worship started actually at that place. But Gopalji came in the dream that after 2 years also, I am still feeling hot. So that's why he is asking Madhavendra Puri Prabhu that you please go to Malaya Hills. Malaya Hills is far away from Prasdham. And at that time, he there were no buses or trains. He has to walk all these miles, So he walked there by order of Gopalji. So Prabhupada is writing here, Malaya Hill is nowadays, it's a Jagannath Puri area, around that area. And he said before, also Malaysia was known as Malaya Hills also, but now all the Mohammedans live there, and they are not producing any of these sandalwood anymore. They produce the rubber because they get more profit doing that. So we can see here how Madhavendra Puri was pure devotee, that Krishna comes in the dream this second time he's coming now. So he was so lucky, and he was very devoted. And we will read that in the next few verses. Go ahead with 107, please. Hare Krishna Narsimha Prabhu.
He's not there, he left. You saw he left. I don't know.
Anybody else is there?
Sutapa is there.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Sutapa,
মলয়জ আন যাইয়া নীলাচল হইতে অন্য হইতে নহে তুমি চলহ তরিতে.
Bring sandalwood pulp from Jagannath Puri. Kindly go quickly, since no one else can do, you must. So Lord Krishna is coming in the dream of Madhavendra Puri and telling him that you go immediately to bring the sandalwood from Jagannath Puri, because no one else can do this job. You are the perfect person to do so. Krishna has so much faith in him that he will do this job very properly. That's why he ordered him. Next verse, please.
স্বপ্ন দেখি পুরী কোষায়ের হইল প্রেমাবেশ, প্রভু আজ্ঞা পালিবারে গেল পূর্বাদেশ. Sorry, my computer screen got off.
After having this dream, Madhavendra Puri Goswami became very glad due to ecstasy of love of Godhead. And in order to execute the command of the Lord, he started east towards Bengal. Next verse, please.
সেবার নির্বন্ধ লোক করিল স্থাপন, আজ্ঞা মাগি গৌড় দেশে করিল গমন.
Before leaving, Madhavendra Puri made all the arrangements for the regular deity worship, and he encouraged the different people in various duties. Then, taking up the order of Gopal, he started for Bengal. So see how Madhavendra Puri perfectly performed his duty, because Gopalji were there in the temple. So he arranged, who will worship. So the two new Bengali people came, devotees came, and he gave them, he initiated them, he taught how to do deity worship properly, and then he saw that they are doing proper job, then giving the responsibility to everybody, who will do what job. And after that, he started from Bengal. He didn't just walk out from his duties. So this is the duty of any devotee, whatever duties they are doing, they should be done properly. They should make, if they have to go somewhere, they make proper arrangements for that. So duty should not be neglected at any cost. Next slide, please.
শান্তিপুর আইলা অদ্বৈতাচার্যের ঘরে, পুরীর প্রেম দেখি আচার্য আনন্দ অন্তরে.
When Madhavendra Puri arrived at the house of Advaitacharya in Shantipur, the Acharya became very pleased upon seeing the ecstatic love of Godhead manifested in Madhavendra Puri. So the way to Jagannath Puri goes through the Shantipur, from the Bengal. So he stopped, Madhavendra Puri stopped at the house of Advaitacharya. And when Advaitacharya saw Madhavendra Puri, he was very happy, because when devotees meet another devotee, they get ecstatic love, and Madhavendra Puri was very elevated soul, actually. So Advaitacharya became very, very happy, and he actually gave him all the place to stay and all the facilities, actually, that he can be comfortable. And then he started serving him there. He arranged for his food, for his stay, and that way he helped him. Next verse, please.
তার ঠাঁই মন্ত লইল যতন করিয়া চলিলা দক্ষিণে পুরী তার দীক্ষা দিয়া।
So Advaitacharya begged to be initiated by Madhavendra Puri. After initiating him, Madhavendra Puri started for South India. In the purport Sri Prabhupada is writing, in this connection, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that Advaitacharya took initiation from Madhavendra Puri, who was a sannyasi in the disciplic succession of Madhva Sampada. According to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kibe Vipra, Kibe Nyasi, Shudra Kena Nai, Yai Krishna Tattva Vetti, Sei Guru Hai. A person may be a Brahman, sannyasi, or a Shudra, or whatever, but if he is well conversant in the science of Krishna, he can become a Guru. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 8:128. This statement is supported by Sri Madhavendra Puri. According to Pancharatra injunction, only a householder Brahman can initiate. Others cannot. When a person is initiated, it is assumed that he has become a Brahman. Without being initiated by proper Brahman, one cannot convert it into Brahmana. In other words, unless one is a Brahman, he cannot make another Brahman. A Grahastha Brahman partaking of the Varnashram Dharma Institute can succor various types of paraphernalia to the worship Lord Vishnu through his honest labor. Actually, people beg to be initiated by these householders, Brahmans, just to become successful in the Varnashram Institute or to become free from the material desires. It is therefore necessary for a spiritual master in the Grahastha ashram to be strict Vaishnava. A spiritual master from a sannyas order has very little opportunity to perform archana, deity worship. But when one accepts a spiritual master from the transcendental sannyasi, the principles of deity worship is not at all neglected. To implement this conclusion, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us his opinion in the words of Kibe Vipra, Kibe Nyasi, etc. This indicates that the Lord understood the weakness of the society in its maintaining that only a Grahastha Brahman should be spiritual master. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu indicated that it does not matter whether the spiritual master is a Grahastha or a sannyasi or even a Shudra. The spiritual master simply must be conversant in the essence of Shastra. He must understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only then one can become a spiritual master. Diksha actually means initiating a disciple with transcendental knowledge, by which he becomes free from all material contamination. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually teaching us so nice thing that, see, before at that time, all the initiation were given by the Brahmanas only, who are caste Brahmans. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said it doesn't matter. He may be sannyasi, he may be Brahman, or he may be Shudra, doesn't matter. Actually, if he knows Yai Krishna Tattva Vetta, who knows the science of Lord Krishna, truth about Krishna, the philosophy of Krishna conscious movement, they can actually give the initiation without any problem. So that is the real Guru, rather than these caste Brahmans in Varnashram system, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Because before it was like that, only Brahman can initiate and make another Brahman. That was the actual general feeling. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually opposed that. He said that anyone can give initiation. And we see so many examples. Even Narottam Das Thakur and this, they were not of the high caste, but they give initiation to so many great acharyas, Ramanujacharya and other people. So we can see that hardly matters who is what caste, but as long as they are pure devotees and they know the truth, tattva, Krishna tattva, they can become the Guru. So what's number 112, please?
রেমুনাতে কইল গোপীনাথ দর্শন তাহার রূপ দেখিয়া হইল বিহ্বল মন.
Going into South India, Shri Madhavendra Puri visited Ramuna, where Gopinath is situated. Upon seeing the beauty of deity, Madhavendra Puri was overwhelmed. So on this way from there, Madhavendra Puri actually visited Ramuna, the same temple where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually was telling this story. So he visited Ramuna temple and where Gopinath deities are situated, and he saw the beauty of Gopinath. Gopinath deities are very, very beautiful. So he was overwhelmed with ecstatic love, and he really saw the beauty and he was really enjoying the beauty of Lord Gopinath. Next verse, please.
নিত্যগীত করি জগমোহনে বসিলা, ক্যা ক্যা ভোগ লাগে ব্রাহ্মণ পুছিলা।
In the corridor of the temple, from which people generally viewed the deity, Madhavendra Puri chanted and danced. Then he sat down there and asked a Brahman what kind of foods they offer to the deity. So Madhavendra Puri actually was in the corridor of the temple, and from there he was seeing the deities. And at that place, he chanted and he danced in ecstasy. And he sat down after the kirtan, he sat down there and he asked a Brahman that what kind of food they offer to the deities, local deities here, to Gopinathji. He was asking because that way he can give the same kind of preparations to Gopalji, his deities in the Vrindavan Dham. So for which, he came here and he was trying to get the sandalwood. So that was his aim of asking, it's not for his own that, okay, I'm going to get this prasadam, Mahaprasadam, and eating and enjoying myself, he was not that kind of person. He was a Paramhansa. Next verse, please.
সেবার সৌষ্ঠব দেখি আনন্দিত মনে, উত্তম ভোগ লাগে বুঝি অনুমানে।
Madhavendra Puri thought, I should inquire from the priest what foods are offered to Gopinath, so that by making arrangements in our kitchen, we could offer similar foods to Shri Gopalji. So next verse, please.
এই লাগি পুছিলেন ব্রাহ্মণের স্থানে, ব্রাহ্মণ কহিল সব ভোগ বিবরণে।
When the Brahman priest was questioned in this matter, he explained in detail what kind of foods were offered to the deities of Gopinath. Next verse, please.
সন্ধ্যায় ভোগ লাগে ক্ষীর, অমৃত কেলি নাম, দ্বাদশ মৃত পাত্রে ভরি অমৃত সমান।
The Brahman priest said, in the evening, the deities is offered sweet rice in 12 earthen pots. Because the taste is as good as nectar, Amrita, it is named Amrit Keli. So actually, Madhavendra desired to offer the same food to the Gopalji. So the Brahman is telling here that in the evening, we offer the Amrit Keli, which is the sweet rice actually, but they make it very special preparation. And this kind of tastes like Amrit nectar. And that's why it is called Amrit Keli. And also known as, because it is offered only to the Gopinath. It is nowhere else it is offered anywhere in the world. So it's so special. So that's why it is also called a Gopinath Kheer. And at that time, the bhoga was being offered to the Lord. Next verse, please.
গোপীনাথের ক্ষীর বলি প্রসিদ্ধ নাম যার, পৃথিবীতে হইছে ভোগ কাহা নাহি আর।
This sweet rice is celebrated throughout the world as Gopinath Kheer. It is not offered anywhere else in the world. Next verse, please.
হেনকালে সেই ভোগ ঠাকুরে লাগিল, শুনিপুরি গোসাই কিছু মনে বিচারিল।
While Madhavendra Puri was talking with the Brahman priest, the sweet rice was placed before the deity as an offering. Hearing this, Madhavendra Puri thought as follows. So Madhavendra Puri was thinking that I thought, to taste it. He was thinking that I will taste it. If it is very good, I will offer to my deity. He was thinking that way for his deities, not for himself. But he thought that even before offering or at the time of offering, he's thinking about tasting, So he thought, this is a offense kind of thing. That's why he felt very bad that why I thought like that. Next verse, please.
অযাচিত ক্ষীর প্রসাদ অল্প যদি পাই, সাত জানি তৈছে ক্ষীর গোপালে লাগাই।
If without my asking a little sweet rice is given to me, I can then taste it and make a similar preparation to offer my Lord Gopal. Next verse, please.
এই ইচ্ছায় লজ্জা পাইয়া বিষ্ণু শরণ কইল, হেনকালে ভোগসরি আরতি বাজিল।
Madhavendra Puri became greatly ashamed when he desired to taste the sweet rice, and he immediately began to think of Lord Vishnu. While he was thus thinking of Lord Vishnu, the offering was completed and the Arti ceremony began. So Madhavendra Puri was feeling very ashamed that he tried to taste, and he immediately at that time he began to think of Lord Vishnu. And at that time when he was thinking like that, the offering was done, the prasada was taken out of the deity room, and then Arti ceremony was being started. Next.
আরতি দেখিয়া পুরি কইল নমস্কার, বাইরে আইলা কারে কিছু না কইল আর।
After the Arti was finished, Madhavendra Puri offered his obeisances to the deity, and then he left the temple. He did not say anything anymore to anyone. So he was feeling actually very ashamed that why I thought this way. So we can see what kind of devotee he was. He has so much love for the Lord, and he didn't thought it for himself, So anybody else, will thought, what's wrong with that? But see how Madhavendra Puri was regretting just even by thinking. So one should not even think before offering to the Lord, because many times we see, oh, I'm going to get Mahaprasad. In this way, they are cooking kachoris for that, and they are making rasgulla and this prasadam, that prasadam. So they have water in their mouth even before it is offered to Lord, or during the offering, people can think that way. So that's offense, But Madhavendra Puri was not committing any offense. Still, he was feeling so ashamed. And after Arti finished, he immediately offered his obeisances to the Lord Gopinath, and he left the temple without saying anything to anyone. Next verse, please.
অযাচিত বৃত্তিপুরী বিরক্ত উদাস, অযাচিত পাইলে খান নহে উপবাস।
Madhavendra Puri avoided begging. He was completely unattached and indifferent to the material things. He would not beg. If someone offered him some food, he would eat. Otherwise, he would fast. Purport. In this Paramhansa stage, the highest stage for a sannyasi can break from door to door just to collect food. But a Paramhans who has taken Achatit Vratti or Ajagar Vratti does not ask anyone for food. If someone offers him food voluntarily, he eats. Ayachit Vratti means being accustomed to refrain from the begging, and Ajgar Vratti indicates one who is compared to a python, the big snake that makes no effort to acquire food, but rather allows food to come automatically within his mouth. In other words, the Paramhansa simply engages exclusively in the service of the Lord without caring even for eating or sleeping. It was stated about the 6 Goswamis, Nidra, Viharakadi, Vijito. In the Paramhansa stage, one conquers the desire for sleep, food, and sense gratification, and remains meek, mendicant engaged in the service of the Lord day and night, Madhavendra Puri had attained the Paramhansa stage. So as we know and discussed several times in the past, there are 4 kinds of sannyasis, 4 different stages of sannyas. So the first one is Kutichaka, the next is Bahudaka, and then Paribraja Chakracharya and Paramhansa. So Kutichaka sannyasi, what they do, they live in the cottage just outside the village, and then they receive supply from the home. The food comes from the home. So they just do not live in the house, but they live outside the village, and they have their hut there, and they live in the hut, and the whole day, night, they do the chant or kirtan or things like that. They meditate on the Lord. So that's what they do. Bahudak, this is another stage for which is little elevated more. So they collect supply from many different places, not just from their own home, but little, from many people. And they can also bake from door to door, little prasadam, and that's the way they survive. And they can live in the town, outskirts of town, or they can go in other towns also. So there is no restriction. And then third stage is Paribraja Chakracharya. So they travel to the world to preach. Actually, Paribraja Chakracharya is the preachers. They travel all over the world and try to preach the knowledge of Vasudeva, Lord Krishna. And the last stage in the sannyas order is Paramhansa. So Madhavendra Puri was Paramhansa. So Paramhansa is the stage, where they, finishing the preaching stage, they settle down in a place to advance the spiritual advancement in the spiritual life. So Prabhupada is describing here 2 kinds of bhakti, Ayachit bhakti and Ajgar bhakti. So these kind of bhaktis is Paramhansas have. So Ayachit bhakti is they refrain from begging. They don't beg. If somebody brings some food, they will eat. Otherwise, they will not go to ask somebody that give me some food, or I'm hungry, or like that. So Madhavendra Puri was like that right from the beginning. When he came to Vrindavan, at that time also he was not begging. So Krishna himself came in the form of a cowherd boy and gave him the milk, and he asked that, who are you? How do you know I'm hungry? And he said, my mother, who came here for taking the water in this forest, she saw you and she told me to give this milk to Babaji. That's why I came here. And he said, you drink milk and then I will come later on to take the pot. And he never returned. Then in the dream, Krishna came in his dream and he told, I'm Gopalji, and I am hidden here behind in the tree, for a long time, and dig me out and make my temple, So that's why first time he was ordered by Lord Krishna. So we can imagine how the Paramhansas, they are so close to Krishna that Krishna comes in their dream and tells, what he wants them to do. So that's why, they are like, they don't care about themselves. They care about Lord Krishna all the time and try to serve him all the time. Their whole thinking process is just serving the Krishna rather than fulfilling our desires. Or even they come to this stage, where they don't worry about food or drink or anything or sleep. They just fully absorbed in the service of Krishna. Other bhakti is Ajgar bhakti, which is the bhakti of the python. So pythons we see in they are lying down, they will not go for their food, something comes in their mouth, they will just eat that. So that's Ajgar bhakti, they don't, Ajgar is just lying down at one place. So this is the Ajgar bhakti. So, but we can see even the lion, who is the king of the forest, if he lies down, nahi suptasya shivasya pravishanti mukhe mriga, if he sleeps, all the time and not go to hunt, to take the animal, as his food, no animal will go and enter in his mouth. So even the lion, who is the king, he also has to go. But the Paramhansas, never care about their own body, and they just try to see if something, by lots of mercy, something comes in their mouth, he will take. Otherwise, they will not worry about their bodily needs. Next verse, please.
প্রেমামৃতে তৃপ্ত ক্ষুধা তৃষ্ণা নাহি বাধে ক্ষীর ইচ্ছা হইল তাহে মানে অপরাধে
A Paramhans like Madhavendra Puri is always satisfied in loving service of the Lord. Material hunger and thirst cannot impede his activities. When he desired to taste a little sweet rice offered to the deity, he considered that he was committed an offense by desiring to eat what was being offered to the deities. It is advisable that food being offered to the deity be covered when taken from the kitchen to the deity room. In that way, others may not see it. Those who are not accustomed to the following the advanced regulated devotional principles may desire to eat the food, and that is an offense. Therefore, no one should be given a chance even to see it. However, when it is brought before the deities, it must be uncovered. Seeing the food uncovered before the deity, Madhavendra Puri desired to taste a little of it, so that he could prepare a similar sweet rice to his Gopal. Madhavendra Puri was so strict, however, that he considered this to be an offense. Consequently, he left the temple without saying anything to anyone. The Paramhansa is therefore called Vijata Sadguna. He must conquer the 6 material qualities: Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mats, and Prashuddha, Trishna, lust, anger, greed, illusion, enviousness, hunger, and thirst. So he conquered all these Shadgunas, the bad things in our vikar, Shadvikar. So he was above that. And so here it is said that he was so elevated soul that even he just thought, but he felt very bad. That's why in our temples, when we offer the food, we have to cover it with a cloth so no one else can see it. Because sometimes people see it, who are not elevated souls, so they can see and they can desire to have it. Oh, so nice. Rasgulla is being offered to the Lord, I wish I can also take that like that, So that should not be done by anyone actually thinking like that. So that's why when we offer the prasadam, we take it covered, then but the time of offering, we have to take out the cloth and which is covering the prasadam, and prasadam should be open to the deity so they can actually see it and eat and take it, because Krishna is actually hungry. He's not hungry for our food. He is hungry for our love. So whatever we offer, we have to offer it with great love and affection. Then only Krishna will take it, otherwise not. So Madhavendra Puri was so elevated that he thought, that even this was my offense, and that's why Prabhupada is writing, he just left the temple room without telling anyone anything. Next verse, please.
গ্রামের শূন্য হাটি বসি করেন কীর্তন এথা পূজারি করাইল ঠাকুর শয়ন
Madhavendra Puri left the temple and sat down in the village marketplace, which was vacant. Sitting there, he began to chant. In the meanwhile, the temple priest laid the deity down to rest. In the purport, Sri Prabhupada is writing, although Madhavendra Puri was not interested in eating and sleeping, his interest in the chanting the Mahamantra was as acute as if he were an aspiring transcendentalist rather than a Paramhans. This means that even in the Paramhans stage, one cannot give up chanting. Haridas Thakur and the Goswamis were all engaged in the chanting a fixed number of rounds. Therefore, chanting on the beats is very important for everyone. Even though one may become a Paramhans, this chanting can be executed anywhere. either inside or outside the temple. Madhavendra Puri even sat down in the vacant marketplace to perform his chanting, as stated by Srinivas Acharya in his prayer to Goswamis, Namagana Natibhi. A Paramahansa devotee is always engaged in chanting and rendering loving service to the Lord. Chanting of the Lord's holy name and engaging in his service are identical. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 9 kinds of devotional service. Shravanam, that's a hearing, Kirtanam, chanting, remembering, Vishnu Smaranam, serving, Padasevanam, Archanam, worship of the deities, Vandanam, praying, Dashyam, carrying out the orders, and Sakhyam, serving him as a friend, and Atmanivedanam, sacrificing everything for the Lord. So these are the 9 processes which is given in Srimad Bhagavatam by Prahlad Maharaj to all of us, and we can practice any of these. Although each this process appears distinct, when one is situated in the absolute platform, he can see that they are identical. For instance, hearing is as good as chanting, and remembering is as good as chanting or hearing. Similarly, engaging in deity worship is as good as chanting, hearing, or remembering. The devotee is expected to accept all 9 processes of devotional service, but even if only one process is properly executed, he can still attain the highest position, Paramhans, and go back home, back to Godhead. So here we can see how Madhavendra Puri is actually so exemplary for all of us, that he left the temple and he went to marketplace. And marketplace at that time, it was late in the evening, like 8, 9 o'clock. So it was almost all the shops were closed. So it was completely vacant. So he sat down in the marketplace and he started chanting. He was not interested the whole day. I was walking and I'm tired now and I'm hungry. So just let me just sleep. He was not interested in sleeping. So he sat down and he just started chanting. At that time, temple deities was being laid down to rest, deities for rest, so Puja Krishna was doing, putting the deities to the rest, sleeping. So we can see how Madhavendra Puri was starting chanting. So Madhavendra Puri was on the Paramahansa stage, as we discussed, but still he was behaving like a new devotee, aspiring devotee. And he was chanting at that time also. So like Haridas Thakur, all the time, 24 hours, he was continuing chanting, So this is actually how we can see, how the great, our acharyas, give the example that one should be interested in chanting anytime, anywhere, whenever they get time, inside the temple, outside the temple, in the house, even walking, anytime we can chant, take the Krishna's name, remembering, So we should follow these 9 processes which Prahlad Maharaj gave us, and we can either follow one process or 2 processes or 3, or everything is all Krishna service, or we can follow all 9 processes. But we have to do as much according to our capacity and try to get more and more services for the Lord, and that will be very beneficial for our transcendental life. Next verse, please.
নিজকৃত্য করি পূজারি করিল শয়ন স্বপনে ঠাকুর আসি বলিলা বচন.
Finishing his daily duty, the priest went to take rest. In a dream, he saw the Gopinath deity come to talk to him. He spoke as follows. Next verse, please.
উঠো হে পূজারি করদার বিমোচন ক্ষীর এক রাখিয়াছি সন্ন্যাসী কারণ.
Please get up and open the door of the temple. I have kept 1 pot of sweet rice for the sannyasi Madhavendra Puri. So we can see that after the pujari went to his room and he locked the door for the deities, closed the door for the deities, and shut off the lights and everything, and he went to take rest in his apartment. So at that place, when he was sleeping in his dream, Lord came and told him that I have stolen the kheer, 1 pot of kheer, and put it behind the curtain. So you please take it and take it to marketplace. Madhavendra Puri sitting there in the vacant marketplace. So you go and give it to him. So Pujari was very surprised that who is this Madhavendra Puri, so great soul, So, but when he was ordered by Krishna, he right away woke up. He took the shower because he had to go to DT room. So no one should go to the DT room without taking a shower. So he took the shower, then he went to DT room and he took the kheer pot with him and he mopped the area where the food was offered. So actually, wherever we offer the food to the Lord, in the wooden platform or some, they should be mopped, they should be cleaned properly after Krishna accept the food. So that is the proper etiquette. So we should clean that. That's what Pujari is showing us, how one should clean the place, where the prasadam was left, behind the curtain. He cleaned that area and then he closed the doors again and then he went to the marketplace. Next verse, please.
You scroll down, please. ধরার অঞ্চলে ঢাকা একক্ষীর হয় তোমরা না জানিলে তাহা আমার মায়ায়.
This part of sweet rice is just behind my cloth curtain. You did not see it because of my tricks. Next verse, please.
মাধবপুরী সন্ন্যাসী আছে হাটেতে বসিয়া তাহাকে তো এই ক্ষীর শীঘ্র দেহ লয়া.
A sannyasi named Madhavendra Puri is sitting in the vacant marketplace. Please take this pot of sweet rice from behind me and deliver it to him. So that was the order of Krishna. Next verse, please.
স্বপ্ন দেখি পূজারি উঠি করিলা বিচার স্নান করি কপাট খুলি মুক্ত কইল দ্বার.
Awaking from the dream, the priest immediately rose from the bed and thought it wise to take bath before entering the deity's room. He then opened the temple door. Next verse, please.
ধরার আঁচল তলে পাইল সে ক্ষীর স্থানলেপি ক্ষীর লয়া কহিল বাহির.
According to the deity's direction, the priest found the pot of sweet rice behind the cloth curtain. He removed the pot and mopped up the place where it had been kept. He then went out of the temple. Next.
দ্বার দিয়া গ্রামে গেলা সেই ক্ষীর লয়া হাটে হাটে বুলে মাধবপুরী কে চাহিয়া.
Closing the door of the temple, he went to the village with a pot of sweet rice. He called out in every stall in search of Madhavendra Puri. Next verse.
ক্ষীর লহ এই যার নাম মাধবপুরী তোমা লাগি গোপীনাথ ক্ষীর কইল চুরি.
Holding the pot of sweet rice, the priest called, "Will he, whose name is Madhavendra Puri, please come and take this pot? Gopinath has stolen this pot for you." So we can see, how Krishna directly telling, to priest, and priest is telling that Gopinath has stolen this pot. So Krishna, to help a devotee, he is ready to be called a thief. Krishna says, he stole this thing. So in the purport, so this will be our last shloka for the day. I will read the purport and then if it needs any explanation, we'll explain. And then we will end this class for the day. So anybody has any comments or anything, they can discuss it now or after I read the purport. But we can definitely discuss those things. So purport Prabhupada says the difference between the absolute truth and relative truth is explained here. Lord Gopinath has openly declared herein that he is a thief. He had stolen the pot of sweet rice, and this was not kept a secret because his acts of stealing is a source of great transcendental bliss. In the material world, theft is criminal, but in the spiritual world, the Lord's stealing is a source of transcendental bliss. Mundane rascals who cannot understand the absolute nature of the personality of Godhead sometimes call Lord Sri Krishna immoral, but they do not know that they do not know that his seemingly immoral activities, which are not kept a secret, offered pleasure to the devotees. Not understanding the transcendental behavior of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, these rascals slur his character and immediately fall into the category of miscreants. Rascals, lowest among the main demons, and those whose knowledge is taken away from the illusory energy. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Namanduskritono Mura Prapadyante Naradama Maya Aprata Jnanam Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among the mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by delusion, and who partake to the atheistic nature of the demon, do not surrender unto me. Mundane rascals cannot understand that whatever Krishna does, being absolute in nature, is all good. This quality of the Lord is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. One may consider certain acts of the Supreme Powerful Person to be immoral by mundane calculations. But this is not actually the case. For example, the sun absorbs water from the surface of the earth, but it does not absorb water only from the sea. It also absorbs water from filthy swale and ditches containing urine and other impure substances. The sun is not polluted by absorbing such water. Rather, the sun makes the filthy places pure. If the devotee approaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead for an immoral or improper purpose, he nonetheless becomes purified. The Lord does not become infected. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that if one approaches the Supreme Lord, even out of lust, anger, or fear, kamam, krodham, bhayam, he is purified. Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 29, 15. The gopis, being young girls, approached Krishna because he was a beautiful young boy. From the external point of view, they approached the Lord out of lust, and the Lord danced with them at the midnight. From the mundane point of view, these activities may appear immoral because a married or unmarried young girl cannot leave home to mix with a young boy and dance with him. Although this is immoral, from the mundane viewpoint, the activities of the gopis are accepted as the highest form of worship because it was Lord Krishna whom they approached with lusty desire in the dead of the night. But these things cannot be understood by non-devotees. One must understand Krishna in Tattva, truth. One should use his common sense and consider that if simply by chanting Krishna's holy name one is purified, how then can a person Krishna be immoral? Unfortunately, mundane fools are accepted as educational leaders and are offered exalted posts for teaching irreligious principles to the general public. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.31. Andha yather andher upaniya manaha. Blind men are trying to lead other blind men. Due to the immature understanding of such rascals, common men should not discuss Krishna's pastime with the gopis. A non-devotee should not even discuss his stealing sweet rice for his devotee. It is warned that one should not even think about these things. Although Krishna is the purest of the pure, mundane people thinking of Krishna's pastime that appear immoral themselves become polluted. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore never publicly discussed Krishna's dealings with the gopis. He used to discuss these dealings only with the three confidential friends. He never discussed the Rath Lila publicly, as the professional reciters do, although they do not understand Krishna or the nature of the audience. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu encouraged the public chanting of the holy name on the huge scale for as many hours as possible. So, very beautiful explanation by Srila Prabhupada, and it explains whole philosophy actually of Krishna consciousness, that how mundane people actually think, that whatever Krishna was dancing with the gopis or whatever he does, is immoral things, but Prabhupada is writing here that just by chanting his name, somebody gets purified. So how his activity can be immoral actually? Because everything comes from Krishna, everything is property of Krishna. So there's nothing wrong whatever Krishna does. We think Krishna is on that as if he's on material platform, but this whole Prakriti is made by Krishna, and it works under the order of Krishna. So how we can think that Krishna can do anything immoral actually? That's why Krishna said that I stole this kheer for him. So Krishna said that I'm a thief. He's saying publicly, but the thief who stole, he never comes public and tells that I have stolen, I have robbed the bank. Have we heard? We have not heard these things from anybody. So this is the thing, that the thief keeps it secret, but Krishna publicly says that I have stolen it from Madhavendra Puri and go and give it to him. So, and Prabhupada is saying that in this material world, what is going on, a blind man is leading the blind. So they both go in the ditch. That's what is going on. The people who do not know anything about Supreme Lord, they are the teachers, big teachers, big professors, and they teach these things, to the public, and what the public will learn. The teachers themselves do not know what is the reality, so how they can teach it. And Srila Prabhupada is very nicely gave the example that the sun, he absorbs water from all the rivers, lakes, from everywhere, even the filthy places like gutters and we have seen places, where all the dirty water collected, from those areas, and he keeps, and then with the sunlight, they absorb and they get purified, then there is no smell. So that way, he cleans these things. So how Krishna himself can be contaminated actually? He cleans the contaminated thing. So these are the things we have to consider. So I will end here now, and I hope we explained it. And if anybody has any questions, please ask, or any comments. I do not know how I did, but please let me know any mistake I did, and I will like to correct, because this is my first time to make my class on Chaitanya Charitamrita, and please help me out. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much. I requested at the very last minute, and you came, and you did it's such a beautiful pastime, and there was so many lessons to be learned from all the verses that we read today. And thank you very much for explaining some of those. The biggest things that I got is how a devotee must feel towards doing service towards the Lord. In his mind, he thought he had committed an offense and he wanted to rectify that. Such a high standard, and something for us to all try to get to. And then I think the second last verse about that Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasa, I think if that is one thing that we have to truly understand, apply, and approach. When we see somebody giving us siksha, how we should treat them and how we should look towards them. Lots of verses. Thank you very much. Again, thank you for coming today and reading this with us. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else have any comment, questions, or reflections? Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for a wonderful class. I was just thinking along the same lines that this humble position that a pure devotee such as Madhavendra Puri takes, it's just part of him. It's his natural state. He's so elevated. And our tendency in the material world, even as devotees, is to see the fault in others rather than to see the weakness in ourselves. And I think we can learn from Sri Madhavendra Puri from his example that always humbling ourselves before the Lord and focusing on our personal service to Krishna rather than what everyone else around us is doing. That is a very quick way to make advancement on the spiritual path.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice point. Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else has any comments, questions? So we can end here. Thank you very much for listening. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
That was very nice. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.